Necro was already good, but the patch lifted it beyond insane, especially now that we can produce unlimited essence. Thank you for that one, Blizzard. That turned our Blood Surge Summoner into an absolute speed farming calamity. But that's not the only change to this build. You might notice we don't have skeleton mages anymore. What the hell? Let me explain. Skill breakdown, Paragon board, everything, and a link in the description below with all this stuff wrapped up. First and foremost, they changed exposed flesh. It used to read up to a 10% chance to generate 50 essence when hitting a vulnerable enemy with bone skills. That one is gone now. Now, when you're hitting a vulnerable enemy, you have a 10% chance, lucky hit, to generate 50 essence. Now, that does not sound like a lot, but think about Blood Surge. You have a room full of 20 enemies, and Blood Surge hits every single one. And with a press of that button, you can launch 3, 4, 5 Blood Surges out, plus the Blood Surge has the double Nova aspect to have another one dropping out. So if we now manage to reap, make a corpse, use the corpse tendrils to pull everyone together, and then Blood Surge into them like there's no tomorrow, while our Sacrilegious Heart is also auto-casting corpse tendrils the whole time as their corpses, and corpse explosions are going off to trigger our 40% bonus multiplicative damage, then we're continuously, if you look at the essence counter, not ever losing a single point of essence. It just keeps stacking up, and we can zoom through every dungeon. And the best part is, if you Blood Mist, and Blood Mist makes corpses, and Blood Mist also explodes corpses below it, but at the same time the Sacrilegious Heart tends to make a corpse tendril into those corpses. Well, you can guess that every fight kind of starts with vulnerable people, with corpse explosions that do a lot of damage, and with overall destruction. Now, I have to sadly admit that we had to sacrifice the skeleton mages for survivability, but also because they were hanging way too far back to be useful for the Death Speaker's pendant. Since we get mini novas around our minions, and yes, we do also have the Barber Heart in here, and that's why you're seeing millions of damage in between, because there are crits, and then you're overpowering into those crits. Imagine doing a little crit with a Blood Surge, and then you follow up with 200, 300, 400,000 Blood Surge damage on the Overpower, and that gets multiplied further up. Oh, and then you do a second Overpower. The beauty of this is quite insane, and it works on every single minion, like, you know, going with their Novas and Blood Surging around. Mages were just never close enough. They were always a little bit too far away. And if you actually sacrifice the mages, we're obviously getting 40% overpower bonus. So now we have our Skeletal Reapers run around, make corpses, and with a 40% bonus overpower, we're at 1,151. Without it, we're at 730, and that's 40% multiplicative on top. We also had to sacrifice the mages because I needed the aspect on the helmet for bonus survivability, since Temerity that actually get changed is not changed. It was supposed to give us max life now, and also to work on max life as well with the barrier that it creates on overhealing, but that's only for new Temerities, not for ones you already have in your stash. No, it seems to only work for new Temerities, which is quite annoying because I'm missing like 1,500 max life on this one, roughly. Bummer. How are our skills looking right now? We have Reap with the Acolyte's Reap for the bonus corpse, so you can start every single fight with a Reap into a corpse tendril or with a Blood Mist. Then as many points as possible in Blood Surge into Paranormal Blood Surge. We also completely stopped playing Unliving Energy and Imperfectly Balanced. I know it works, but I just get to the point where we're essentially never running out of essence, so I don't wish to burn more essence away from me. And it really does work very well with the unlimited essence part. Then Hoot Flash for as many corpses as possible, so we always corpse tendril and automatic corpse explosion into plague corpse explosion, with a Blood Mist into Ghastly Blood Mist for the bonus corpses, and obviously we have Fueled by Death, plus all the points in Grim Harvest, because all the corpse tendrils that get auto-casted and all the corpse explosions continuously regenerate our essence as well. That is with the Decrepify and the Abhorrent Decrepify for the Decrepify Aura, with the bonus aura damage and then damage to close and far enemies, because you're doing both at the same time with Blood Surges. Very important, 1 point in Gruesome Mending, 1 point in Transfusion for minion healing, 6 points in Coil Assist Blood at this point for 36% increased bonus blood skill damage. Then Drain Vitality is very important for hitting enemies with blood skills, has up to a 30% chance to fortify you. And you need all these points here because I do really like to get fortified extremely fast, since Fortify is overpowered damage. Drain Vitality works incredibly well together with the Death Speaker's Pendant to hit everyone at the same time and super fortify. Last but not least, Tides of Blood for the super overpowered damage. We get the Plague Corpse Sentinels making vulnerable, and we need that vulnerable, and then 1 point in the Necrotic Carapace for a little bit of bonus fortify. That gets followed by the Inspiring Leader for the attack speed for you and your minions. It's more the attack speed for you, that's for free. And then 2 points also in Death Defense to have them not take more damage than 50% with one hit. I mean, technically we could take that 1 point out of Necrotic Carapace and just add it right here to have our minions survive a little bit more, because you might have noticed we're actually not playing Skeletal Warrior Mastery because it works fine as it is. And with a Transfusion plus Death Defense, they stay alive very nicely. Last but not least, Rathamus Vigor for more HP and also save overpower damage. Now for the aspects, some things changed. We have the aspect of the Exposed Flesh for the 10% bonus Essence Generation chance. Overpower damage is also what you want on your ring, and you actually do want max life, but I didn't have a good ring for that. Then we're playing Mother's Embrace, and I do still believe this is an absolute key part of this. Mother's Embrace is absolutely beautiful. It has the overpower damage, it has the lucky hit chance, it has the all stats. Life would be better, but hey, and it refunds when you hit 5 or more enemies 35% of the resource cost. It is just made for Blood Surge, and I won't be told different. Then the Death Speaker's Pendant as well. You can play this build without the Death Speaker's Pendant and just sacrifice your skeletons as well. Then you would have to think about putting points into Standalone and also Memento Mori for even more sacrifice bonuses. But Death Speaker's Pendants truly makes this super good, especially with the 3 ranks in Coil Assist Blood for the super blood damage bonus damage. Very important, each % of your maximum life you heal beyond 100% grants you 0.5% bonus overpower damage on your next overpower. And that is up to a 60% bonus. That is so easy to achieve because every single Blood Surge heals you for almost 1000 HP currently. It's also the first aspect I would probably sacrifice if I would need one more aspect for something else. Then on our weapon, it's the Blood Surge Double Nova Echo. We have the Corpse Explosion Blood Mist, so we always have Blood Mist active. For the items, what should you have on it? It's actually pretty simple. Max life, max life, max life, max life, max life, max life. Just on every single item that can have max life, and on gloves and weapon overpower damage. That's it. You want as much life as possible to overpower as hard as possible. That's followed up with the Embalmer. Consuming corpses has a chance to spawn blood orbs. Blood orbs heal you, but blood orbs also higher our damage tremendously with a Paragon board. I'll get to that in a second. And then Rathamus Chosen. Whenever your blood skills overpower, you get bonus attack speed and you can sap out even more corpse explosion, corpse tendrils, and blood surges. That gets followed up by more skeletal warriors and disobedience to make you and your minions even more tanky. Now the build is working absolutely fantastic, but there's one caveat. I beat a tier 80 dungeon, but when it comes down to tier 90s and tier 100s, this build is, even if temerities work, most likely not working for it. But I think that's fine, because you could swap this over to a Bloodlands build to beat your tier 100, but if you're looking to speed farm tier 50s and 60s, if you're wanting to just zoom through them like there's no tomorrow for the leveling process and everything, Blood Surge. I mean, I brought this from 1 to 50 in hardcore, and I've been playing this in Eternal Realm as well, leveling up my Necro. It works so good as a level build. And to get to level 90, 95, 100 with this, to then swap over to something else with all your resources and completely destroy. Paragon board, you want all the max life you can get because, well, max life is your damage. Then bonus damage on max life, and we're playing the Dominate Glyph. For every 5 willpower, you get bonus overpower, and that is another 200% overpower here. And I think I've taken all the willpower available. There might be a better note for this, so check in the description below if I changed a little bit things about the Paragon board, but the sense is the same. Then we have the bonus damage and the bonus armor, and very important, we want to go for the Bloodbath board because attacks that are guaranteed to overpower deal more overpower. And then we're working with damage while fortified, and the interesting part about damage while fortified is that it seems to work as soon as you have one single point of fortify. That being said, we're mostly fortified as well. Plus, damage while healthy and overpower damage, a lot of overpower damage and damage while healthy, as we're always healthy. We do get a maximum life and damage while fortified, and that's a lot. And then back here, there's also damage while fortified again. It is quite easy to achieve that and works out very nicely. Then we're going over the cult leader board together with a Dead Razor glyph, so we actually get our minions less damage taken. Damage reduction is king here. We might actually be able to forego this completely as we kind of play the note and we have the transfusion. So there is a world where we might want to cut this out, but I have to test this more in the future. Then we're going over to the Flesh Eater board for the bonus damage increase, and that works so good with the Sacrilegious Heart auto-triggering. And we essentially just won Flesh Eater in the Glyph socket. The Glyph socket we won for damage to elites, and then damage to elites, and then damage to elites, and damage to elites. Plus, this is very good for the control glyph, because for every 5 in close by, you and your minions deal 10% to 20% increased damage versus stunned enemies. That's huge, and perfect 80% damage versus crowd control enemies as well. Plus Erudite, Intelligence, and Resistance to all elements. We'll take it. This goes up into the Blood Begets board, and that is Blood Orbs grant you increased damage up to 15%. And as you notice, we make quite some Blood Orbs in the gameplay, which is super good. Then we have Overpowered damage as well, plus, well, Overpower damage. This node is insane. We get a little bit more damage for 4 seconds after picking up Blood Orbs and damage while healthy. And if I have enough willpower, we'll also get that up to 20%. And that gets folded into the Glyph Socket Imbiber for more damage while healthy, into damage for 4 seconds after picking up a Blood Orb again, and then Overpower and another 30% Overpower damage. Actually, it's another 45% overpower damage. And since all our overpower gets multiplied, it is really good to actually pick up as many overpower nodes as you can and check them all. But what we do need is a little bit more max life. For example, this node down here would be another 8% max life plus, with a little bit of blood orb healing, which is technically worth it. But there's also another 14% hidden into the blood graft board. And that's what I'm thinking about. If I actually put this away and replace it through the blood graft board, bone graft, we could be picking up this node up here for 4% max life plus another 4% max life, and then max life, max life, max life. I mean, that's in total 14%, and it's the same road as we're taking here with the Dead Razor, just that we would be getting more max life, and our minions should be tanky enough anyways due to our skills and the blood orbs. And even if they're not tanky enough, the Sacrilegious Heart just auto summons them back again to just be on our side and support us. It might be worth it to consider this as a YOLO Dolo. It could work. I'll test even more. Now, I know some of you are saying, if I'm already considering this, why not cut minions completely? Honestly, the Death Speaker's Pendant is too much fun with the Blood Urge Supernova and then more Blood Surges, and it really does help to actually trigger the exposed flesh quite a lot. And the minions work as a little bit of a damage buffer as you jump into the enemies and you're surrounded by them. They do a little bit bonus damage to fuel the Barber Heart. It does work with them nicely. But as I said, you can forego the Death Speaker's Pendant if you don't have that and play this then as a complete without one. And that's where the Paragon board might actually be really good with a bonus life. I'm already at 16,000 life right now, and we could boost that even further. What kind of madness have you been coming up with the new patch already? And yes, this probably works also on a Blight Summoner, because now the Blight Summoner might never run out of essence again, and you can literally spam infinite blind. We'll come back to this exposed flash ring as we're actually making our maximum damage over time build, because that could become very nasty. Now, if you're more interested in Tempest Necro, which also works with the Barber Heart now, so put the Creeping Death out and put Barber Heart in, it is better than ever. The single target damage on Infinity Mist now is skyrocketing since everything works now with Barber Heart. Check it, Infinity Mist or Tempest.